And overcrowding played a part.
A man who allegedly abducted a girl from her grandparents' home in central Queensland has faced court. The 12-year-old victim was having a sleepover with friends at her grandparents' house in Gladstone when police say the attack took place. Jonathan Hare reports.
The accused, Corey Dean Coulton, has been charged with a number of offences, including attempted abduction of a child. It's alleged the 24-year-old broke into a house in the early hours of Sunday morning and tried to abduct the 12-year-old girl who was having a sleepover with two friends. Police say he lay down next to the girls before grabbing one of them and dragging her into the backyard. They say the girl then screamed, which woke up her grandfather, who chased him away.
He was reacting to what he heard that night, which was screams of his granddaughter and also her young friends as well, screaming for assistance. He did, I imagine, what any grandfather or father would do.
The girl escaped with only scratches and bruises and is now back home with her mother. Coulton had his case adjourned in the Gladstone Magistrates Court until Wednesday, where he's expected to apply for bail.
The top stories: the search is continuing for a shark that mauled a teenage surfer on the far northeast coast of New South Wales this morning. Floodwaters peak in regional New South Wales. At least 100 properties are affected and many residents remain cut off from their homes. And US golfer Arnold Palmer, viewed as one of the greatest players in history, has died at the age of 87. The United States and its allies have intensified pressure on Russia to rein in its bombing campaign in Syria and support efforts for peace. Britain and France have accused Russia of war crimes by supporting a bombing campaign that has killed nearly 150 people in 3 days. Russia insists it's targeting terrorist groups, not civilians, and says reaching peace in Syria is an almost impossible task. And a warning: this story contains distressing images.
These are some of the darkest days yet in Syria's civil war. A failed ceasefire in Aleppo has given way to the most intensive bombing in 6 years. Syrian forces backed by Russia have launched more than 150 airstrikes in 3 days, killing almost as many people. With ambulances non-existent and medical clinics overwhelmed, the hundreds of wounded are lucky to survive.
Aleppo's inhabitants are ordinary Syrians who have suffered so much for so long. They are now facing an unprecedented, unrelenting onslaught of cruelty.
The worsening war on the ground has unleashed a war of words at the United Nations. The UN, Britain and the US have accused both Syria and Russia of barbarism for abusing human rights in the pretense of fighting terrorism.
The use of bunker-busting bombs brings the violence